Comments. The Honourable Member for Abitibi-Temiskaming. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In my riding, well, I'm lucky to have cheese producers who have set up in the last 2 decades, who have worked very hard to create quality products like Fromage au Village, La Vache à Mayotte. And now they're threatened alongside the dairy producers who are going to have to deal with major losses under this free trade agreement. And yet, you know, we're talking a lot about climate change, about doing more for the environment. So does the member see that there's a certain problem that they're talking about the environment, which suggests that we should be eating as many local products as possible, but at the same time we're going to be importing more products that have crossed an ocean to get here, food products that are perishable. So I would like to hear his comments on that. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague for her question. And indeed, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, French cheeses are among the most subsidized in the world, where we're going to be facing a situation where cheese from Quebec and from Canada will be at a competitive disadvantage. And yes, as my colleague has pointed out, on the one hand, we want to encourage the consumption of local products. We want to reduce greenhouse gases, and certainly food transport contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. And there's also the question of food sovereignty and food waste. So all these issues are linked. And this is the problem we have with this agreement. In this agreement with its investor state provisions, with the effects that it'll have on pharmaceutical prices, with the betrayal of our dairy producers and our cheese producers, what we're seeing is that the government talks a good game and makes a lot of great promises. But once again, as we've seen from this government since they came to power last year, they're not walking the talk. And that's exactly what we're criticizing. We need to encourage local consumption, and the government needs to give people the tools to do that. And now what they're telling people is that products from elsewhere are just as good or even have an advantage over our local products. That's not good for local economies. It's not good for our producers. And once again, Mr. Speaker,